They laughed at me before they even asked my name, was standing near the dessert table at my younger brother Ethan's engagement party, holding a cheap paper cup of punch, wearing the only dress I could find that didn't scream corporate boardroom. It was navy blue. Simple. No diamonds. No flashy heels, and apparently that made me invisible. Or worse, mockable. Oh, you must be one of those relatives, a woman in a glittering red gown whispered loudly to another. The ones who come for free food. They didn't know I could hear them. Or maybe they did, and didn't care. This party was hosted at a luxury country club just outside Chicago. Crystal chandeliers. Live violinists. Champagne that cost more than my first car. My future sister-in-law, Vanessa, came from money. Old money. The kind that teaches you how to smile while judging you head to toe, driven 6 hours straight after a brutal week of meetings. I hadn't slept. I hadn't told anyone what I really did for a living, because in my family, success had always made people uncomfortable, especially Ethan. Growing up, I was too ambitious. Too quiet. Too serious. Ethan was the golden boy. Charming. Athletic. Loved by everyone. When he got engaged to Vanessa, the entire family acted like he'd won the lottery, and I was just his older sister. Vanessa finally approached me with a tight smile. "So," she said, scanning my outfit, "what do you do again?" I opened my mouth, but before I could answer, her cousin cut in. "She probably doesn't," he laughed. These days everyone's an entrepreneur on Instagram. The table erupted in laughter. My brother stood right there, and said nothing. That hurt more than the insults. I forced a smile, swallowing the familiar sting. I'd learned long ago that silence was safer than explaining myself. People only respected success when it came with visible proof, and tonight, I didn't look like proof. As I turned to leave the table, I overheard something that made me stop cold. Vanessa's uncle leaned toward Ethan and said, "Don't worry. Once you start working at Harrington Solutions, you'll finally be surrounded by real professionals. Not this." He gestured vaguely in my direction. I froze, because Harrington Solutions wasn't just any company. IT was my company, and none of them had any idea what was about to happen. I didn't plan revenge that night, honestly. I just wanted to survive the evening without crying in the bathroom like I used to at family gatherings. But fate has a funny way of pulling truths into the light, especially when arrogance gets too loud. Dinner was served. Toasts were made. Vanessa's father stood up, glass raised high. "To my future son-in-law," he announced proudly. "We're thrilled Ethan will be joining Harrington Solutions next month. A stable company. Strong leadership. A future worth building." Applause thundered through the room. I felt every eye brush past me like I didn't exist. Then the event coordinator approached the mic. "Before we continue," she said, "we have a special guest who arrived late due to business travel. She's requested a brief word." She looked directly at me. Confused murmurs filled the hall. I stood slowly, heart pounding. This wasn't planned. I hadn't asked for this. But walking away, again, felt worse. I walked to the stage. Up close, I saw the uncertainty flicker across Vanessa's face. Ethan frowned, confused. Her uncle tilted his head, annoyed. I took a breath. "Hi," I said calmly. "I'm Rachel. Ethan's sister." Polite claps. Awkward smiles. "I didn't expect to speak tonight," I continued, "but since my name's been mentioned so often, mostly incorrectly, I thought I'd clear something up." Silence. "I founded Harrington Solutions 12 years ago. I started it from my apartment with a used laptop and a lot of debt. Today, we employ over 800 people across 4 states." Gasps rippled through the room. Vanessa's father's smile collapsed, her uncle's face drained of color. "I'm also the majority owner," I added gently. "Which means, yes. I own the company many of you work for. And some of you," I glanced toward Vanessa's cousin, interviewed with last year. The room felt like it stopped breathing. Ethan stared at me like I was a stranger. I never talked about it, I said, voice steady, because I wanted to be your sister, not your resume. I turned to Ethan. I would have helped you without hesitation. But hearing how easily I was dismissed tonight, that changed something for me. Vanessa whispered, Rachel, this is inappropriate. No, I replied softly. What was inappropriate was mocking someone you didn't understand. I handed the mic back to the coordinator. I wish you both happiness, I said. But respect should come before privilege. And with that, I walked off the stage. I didn't stay for dessert, but the fallout, that was only beginning. The next morning, my phone exploded, missed calls. Voicemails. Texts that ranged from apologetic to panicked. Vanessa's uncle left 3 messages, each more frantic than the last. HR directors emailed asking for urgent clarification. Even Ethan called, something he rarely did unless he needed something. I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I sat in my quiet hotel room, staring out at the city, thinking about how many times I'd shrunk myself to keep the peace. How often I'd let others define my worth because it was easier than correcting them. That ended last night. By Monday, word had spread throughout the company, not because I announced it, but because arrogance has a way of collapsing under truth. Didn't fire anyone out of spite, but I did make changes. Vanessa's uncle was removed from a leadership role after an internal review revealed long-standing behavioral issues. The cousin who mocked me? His contract wasn't renewed. As for Ethan, he finally came to see me. He looked smaller somehow. Quieter, I didn't know, he admitted. And I should have defended you. Yes, I said. You should have. We talked for hours. About childhood. About jealousy. About silence. He apologized, not just for that night, but for years of letting others belittle me to feel bigger himself. Forgave him. But forgiveness didn't mean access. Ethan declined the job offer on his own. He said he needed to build something that didn't carry my shadow. I respected that. Vanessa, she never apologized. The engagement ended quietly a few months later. Funny how power reveals people. Not when you wield it, but when they realize you already had it. Today, my company is thriving. But more importantly, so am I. I no longer hide who I am to make others comfortable, because the strongest revenge isn't humiliation. Standing tall, telling the truth, and walking away with your dignity intact. And trust me, they never laughed at me again.